last week or the week before. She's located in Texas,
Mhm.
as you know, and she was saying they got some pretty bad storms
Yep.
hit where she was at. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you guys are close to one another. I know she's kind of outside of Dallas. So
Yep, fairly close. We're probably 20 minutes away.
oh my gosh, I
Yep.
love that. That's amazing. Yeah, no, I'm sure. And then our new VP of customer success, she lives in Mississippi. So we have lots of people. She had some storms last week, but it's just that time of year. We get hit where I'm at, Jeff, like with the snow. So we get like the lake effect snow. So if it snows in Chicago a little bit, we get dumped on is what, we refer to it as. So yeah.
Well, good.
Yeah, great. Well, I'm hoping that your school year goes well. I'm gonna wait a couple more minutes. We have some other people joining us, but excited to see you.
Thank you.
Let's see. I know we have about 10 others that have RSVP'd, so I'll wait a few minutes and then I'll hopefully start right around 6 o'clock because I know many of you have taught all day. I tried to do a later one so my my West Coast teachers get a chance to join some of these too, because sometimes when I do them at 4 o'clock, Central Time, they're still teaching. So I'm going to wait a couple more minutes. Let's see. There we go. I'm just going to wait a few more minutes. It's almost 6 o'clock, so I'll wait a couple more. And then I'm recording. So if anyone that didn't join can watch this at a later date, because I know it's school year and it's crazy.
Hey, I don't know if Melinda told you, but I sent it to her. I created, when you guys came out with the block directory.
Yeah, the digital one.
Yeah, I kind of put together a whole packet. I just kind of put it into a worksheet packet.
Yeah, she shared it with us. It's incredible how you kind of did like a deep dive with your students and things like that.
So let them work on it, but it gets them, especially with the kids that are brand new to it, to kind of explore some of the, you say, hey, go find the threshold block, and they don't know where it is. But if they get to kind of see it ahead of time, then they
I love that. I actually loved your idea, and I took some of that too and started making like a deep dive document. And so I think it's in Sam Studio now too, because I was doing. It's funny that you were doing it with students, because I was doing a deep dive when I was doing trainings with teachers so that they could know too. But no, I love your strategy too, because it's, especially a block that kids don't use every single day. Yeah. It's great to have that. And I don't know if you saw it too in the corner that if you press on Blocky every single time, he changes outfits, which, our students obviously love that. So let's see. I thought I just had, let me see 1 second. Let me unshare my screen for a second. Someone is coming in here. Let's see.
There you go.
There we go. Perfect. Hi, Caitlin. How are you? All right. I'm going to wait 1 more minute. But yeah, Jeff, I love that. I always love to see too when people have, take something that came out and just go with it too. So I feel like you were one of the first people that kind of were experimenting with the block directory, the new one. I'm not sure if you've seen, but we have like a Sam Blockley PDF of all the blocks. So, which is great. I think the end goal too is to also have a digital version of that as we do for the block directory for Sam Space, because, we have students that use Sam Blockley as well. So I think that's kind of the next thing, which is a great progression so that they're able to kind of understand it better. But yeah, that's hopefully going to come out soon as well. So yeah, an excellent resource. Okay. I'm going to share my screen again. That way everybody can see it. I know we have some other people that did RSVP, but I want to make sure I'm using all of your time wisely today. I know that it is a busy time of year, so I want to make sure we get started here this evening together. So if people join in a little bit late, that's okay. So tonight we are going to be diving into what we are calling our SAM Explorers, which is a design and innovation camp that you can launch with your students or potential students for a summer camp. So many of you already have your STEAM kits, your STEAM Plus kits in your schools. So this is another way that you can utilize those materials this summer. So it'll be a quick session this evening, but we're really going to dive into how you can get it launched immediately. So some of you I know are already having summer break come soon. So if you're looking for some activities to do, or maybe you want to plan later this summer, these are going to be some great resources for you. So today's agenda this evening, here's a look at what we're going to do. We'll start with just a quick intro to SAM Labs, because some people that are watching this or might watch it are new to SAM Labs and are wanting to use it in their summer camp. So get a little bit about who we are. I know some of you have been using us for many, many years, so it will be a great quick review for you. We'll also explore all the summer camp lessons together and all the resources that go with them. All are ready-made materials, which you will love. We'll even have some time to plan your camp with our simpler models too. If you're looking for things like test cards or prototyping handouts, we're going to go through some of those. And then we'll even get to see what it might look like to try a hands-on activity together. And then I'll wrap up with a question and answer time. So at any point today, if you have a question, you can pop it in the chat, or you can wait to the end during our question and answer. And those of you that are on here live this evening get a chance to win a free Root Robot. So thank you guys for joining us as usual. Again, please feel free to unmute as well. There's only a few of us, or type your question in the chat. If you don't know who I am, my name is Alyssa Bell. I am the professional development specialist here at SAM Labs. So I provide all of the training, either virtual, on-site. If you've tried out SAM Academy, which is our asynchronous learning platform, I'm leading many of those as well. But you'll see me often. Many of you, I see some familiar names already, have seen me a lot. But I'm leading these webinar camps. So I am your STEAM camp counselor as we get going to launch these things off. So who we are at SAM Labs, for those of you that are new or wanting to learn more, at SAM Labs, we focus on making STEAM, coding, and hands-on engaging and accessible for all students and teachers, regardless of their levels. Students aren't just coding on a screen, they're actually building systems, they're problem solving, they're creating real world solutions. And what makes sense is this is especially powerful for summer camp because it's everything that's already designed to be fun. It's interactive, it's easy to implement. And even if you're brand new to coding or have no STEM or coding background, whether you're an expert in STEAM, you're in the right place. So now let's look at all the things that come with our summer camp series. If you also really quick, these are your customer success managers for specific regions. So after today, if you would need some extra additional support, or you're like, hey, I'd like to get a little bit more information on some things with summer camp, you can reach out to one of your customer success managers in your area, or you can email me as well. And I can be happy to answer any questions, but they are also valuable resources. I cover the whole United States, where they just focus on your specific region too. So sometimes it's also great to get some insight for your area. If you're looking for potential maybe grant money or things like that, or wanting to buy additional resources, they're your expert for your area. So why summer camp with SAM Labs? Summer camp is such a unique opportunity. It's really where we can focus on engagement, creativity, and hands-on learning. We also know there's a lot of learning loss in the summer. So having something like a STEAM camp or a coding camp can reduce that learning loss. And that's where exactly SAM Labs fits in. So everything is already designed for you. So instead of spending hours planning when you're already had a long year of your school year, you can just just choose a lesson and run with it. Many of the lessons too, you see, if you have different students coming every single day, the lessons always have a lot of activities that are starter activities built in. So if they're new to learning the platform, they can easily pick it up that day. Students also stay engaged because they're not just sitting and listening. They're building, they're creating, they're solving problems, they're having a chance maybe to showcase what they've made. And at the same time, they're building those really important skills like collaboration, critical thinking, confidence with STEM, all those future ready skills that are important. And the best part, these lessons are designed to fit very short, flexible time blocks. If you only have an hour for camp each day, our lessons can fit in great. If you have multiple hours in the camp day, you can maybe choose multiple lessons to do or different activities. So now that we know how this is going to work, let's actually look at a structure and how your summer camp can run and some of the resources that we have. So when you're planning to think about your summer camp series, you're always going to want to start with a STEAM lesson, which I'll show you those resources in a second. Then the second part is kind of hands-on build and a challenge. So the flow would be you're picking a lesson, you're having a build or a challenge where students are going to test and explore. You can mix in some fun unplugged activities, which I'll show you the resource we have for that. And then I always like to say in summertime too, find time to share or have an end of showcase. If you have a week-long camp, maybe Monday they're going to start on a project and at the end of the week they're going to get to share it and what they've created. If it's just that one day, maybe you make sure you build in 5 minutes at the end so the students can share with one another. Or maybe you're just going to do a gallery walk and they're just going to see each other's projects. But making sure you have some type of time so students can show their work. It's just so powerful, especially in that summer camp series too, when they can learn from one another. Here's what we've created for you. This is called our summer camp implementation guide. So it's everything that you need. You can click on what path fits you best. If I click on this resource here, I'll show you this. And after today, I will share this resource with you too. So if you're no need to take pictures on the screen, you'll get everything that I am working with today for you. So it talks about which path. So tonight is our middle school path that we're focusing on, 6 to 8. So we'll be designing thinking. They'll be designing thinking and real world systems. They'll be coding with variables. They'll be using logic and loops. And we even have a scope and sequence document. So if I click on this document here, it walks you through all of the different lessons that are already done and created for you for 6th through 8th grade. Now, these lessons can be done in any order. There's no specific order. We just have them in this order here, but they look very similar to our scope and sequence documents already. Like we call them our medium-term planning guides, which many of you are probably already familiar with. But here, they're specifically focused on summer camp. So this first one I see is summer camp cookout, our campfire cookout, excuse me. You'll see the final system. Now, everything is typically built and Sam Blockley within our summer camp series. You'll see the lesson overview, how long that specific lesson is, the materials that you potentially might need, such as your blocks that you would need or other additional materials, and even some keywords. So maybe you're going to do a summer camp like journal or word wall with all the different vocab words. You could have these printed out and ready to go. The great thing I love too is when you're ready to teach a lesson, let's say I am ready to launch my first day, I can click on this document and it will open that lesson for me in the Content Hub. So then I can see everything that I need for that specific lesson. But if I go back to that scope and sequence, I'll see that there's a campfire lesson, a weather alert. This one is really exciting. It allows them to build a weather alert. So if they're sleeping in their tent, to alert them in case bad weather is coming, which often happens right when you're camping. So there's a lot of real world connections. The stargazing adventure is really fun. It ties in constellation. So they're not just learning about coding, and they're bringing in some other things with constellations in there. Let's play tag, right? In summertime, people are playing tag. A compass adventure. This is always a really fun one for students. So you can see these are the scope and sequence lessons. Now, if I go back to what is going to be in those particular lessons, you'll see that every lesson plan It has a step-by-step guide, which is guiding you on how you're going to code or how the students are going to code, very similar to other lessons that we have. So if you have coding experience, great. If you don't, it's going to make sure you feel confident too when you're talking through using Sam Blockley with your students. We have the slide decks ready for you. You'll see the hands-on build activity, and we even have extensions. Instead of calling them chili challenges, which you might see in our other lessons, we call them sparkler challenges in the summer because sparklers are fun to use in the summertime. You'll also see student materials and standard alignment. So if I go back to that lesson that we were talking about, the campfire lesson, I can see all these resources here that are available to me. Again, I talked about those slides. You'll see the slide decks are already created for you. What I love about the slide decks is, so if you have students maybe have never used Sam Labs during the school year, but they're brand new to your summer camp, the starter lessons, if you're familiar, hopefully many of you are built into the summer camp lessons. So you don't have to do the starter lessons ahead of time. You could just launch and jump right into our summer camp lessons. So if your students are brand new to Sam Blockley, it introduces them to them at the beginning. So they talk about Sam Blockley, how to log in, their workspace, and it even goes into what is block-based coding. So if you have students that have never used this before, there's some background knowledge for them. If you have students that use Sam Blockley in the school year and they're experts at it, you could probably skip this whole part or just do a quick review. But it's built in. It's also built in on how to connect the blocks. So again, if students are unfamiliar with how to do it, it is built into that summer camp for you. Now, let's say you're doing this whole week long, you would only probably need to do these starter activities, maybe that first day, and then the rest of the week or the rest of the time at the summer camp, they should feel confident in what they're doing. Some other great resources you'll see is your lesson plan. They follow the same flow as our other lessons that you hopefully maybe have done or are familiar with. It has that warm up built in, the mini lesson, and then what I love, and I know many of our teachers appreciate, the step-by-step guide. So talks to each step how to build the code, and then even some notes on explaining to students why you're putting that in. There's even an answer key to the challenges. So those sparkler challenges to extend their learning, it is in there for you. And then finally, if there's a handout that the students need, it is embedded into the SAM Studio here. Some teachers like to print these out and have the students write on them. Some teachers, if their students have Chromebooks during the summer, which I know doesn't always happen for every single student, they might make this a Google slide that they can answer in. So lots of options for how you would like to handle the student handout, but hopefully you can see everything is done for you, and that scope and sequence guide, you just have to click on the lesson and it is ready for you. Again, I think it's a great resource to launch that summer camp. Also, maybe you have a summer camp that's going longer than a week. You could, spend time and spend more time on each lesson. Maybe on the campfire cookout, you're going to split it up into sessions. Maybe the first part, you're going to teach the whole group part and introduction, and they're going to do the virtual build, and then they leave for the day. And then the next day they come back, they build the prototype and do the challenges. So that's one way you could run your camp if it's longer than a week. The lesson flow, again, follows a warm-up, mini lesson, build, and then challenge and debug and reflect and share. So kind of what I just was mentioning, you could do these first three parts, the warm-up, mini lesson, and build on day one. And then the second day they come back, challenge and debug. Or that could be a great time to take a break. If it's summer camp, maybe it's a 3-hour camp, you could do the warm-up, mini lesson, and build. They take a nice break, you get some movement, and then they do that afternoon part. So however fits best for you. And if you're like, I need some more help with that, Alyssa, I'd be happy to talk that through with you. So let's kind of experience what it would be like for students. Again, I showed you this. So this is pulled directly from those slides. When they're joining it, you would go right into what is block-based coding. We have Sam here, who is our Sam Blockley mascot. It goes through teaching them about the workspace, how to add devices in. It even teaches them where the tabs are. So understanding, the different logic and variable tabs. how to connect the devices, which is different than Sam Space. So if your students haven't used Sam Blockly, that's all built in for you. There, in this particular one, there's a campfire simulation. And so they're learning about algorithms in this lesson. It talks deeply about the vocabulary words, and it shows them let's build. So what it would look like if we were to build this campfire simulator, which is a really fun one. The students really, really enjoy it. You could even enhance it by bringing in real marshmallows, and maybe the students can roast their marshmallows on their campfire. Could be just a fun way to bring, some more engagement into your lessons. If you're like, that sounds way too messy for middle school, Alyssa, totally understand, but that could just be like a way to extend it. So how can you extend your camp? So what else? So after you do these lessons and maybe you're wanting more, or maybe you want to teach a lesson in the morning and then the afternoon you want some more hands-on time, or maybe some of those lessons aren't sparking anything and you're looking for something else. We have a lot of additional things that you can use to run your summer camp. First is the Sparkler Challenge. So every single lesson has these Sparkler challenges included, and at the end, they're kind of like some teachers could have printed them off and almost use them as task cards. So in this particular one, it tells them which block to use the buzzer. Can you add sound to a system to simulate the sound of a campfire? So after they built the campfire, what else can they do? And it tells them even some additional things. Now, if you're wondering where's the answer key, Alyssa, this would be in that lesson plan that I showed you so that you know what it would look like. I will tell you, though, there are a lot of more than one answer with many of these challenges. Sometimes students come up with a totally different answer than you have on your answer key, and it still works, which I love. That's what I think is so fun about Sam Space and Sam Blockly is there's more than one answer. We also have maker design challenges. So if you are really someone that wants a more open-ended time during their summer camp, we have our maker design challenges here. So I've linked them for you and I will link them after today, but we have our Learn to Code task cards. So this would be used specifically for Sam Blockly. It gives them a scenario. In this one, Sam and her students just finished the clubhouse and want to keep it protected. Construct a system that detects and alerts for an intruder. Some teachers like to print these off and cut off the answer key part. If you're like, I don't want them to have the answer, Alyssa, you have the answer here, and you could just give them this. I've also seen some middle school teachers fold it in half. And so they say, don't flip it over for the answer until you've tried it for a bit. So that's another way you could have it. So lots of different ways. There are a lot of task cards here. Excuse me. So you could have, each during your summer camp, maybe that day, they could spend an entire morning doing something like this, where they're having a scenario and having to fix it or to make sure that they're solving the problem. You could give each group a task card. They could build it. And at the end of the summer camp, you could have that share time where they're going to share their problem and how they solved it. If you're someone too that's like, Alyssa, I need some more structure if they're going to be prototyping, we have a prototyping handout here, which is another excellent resource. So in this case, they would use this handout when they're filling out that task card. They would write down what is the issue that Sam or Blocky is facing. It gives them the stages of design thinking here. Write your problem statement. So how are you going to fix that? What solutions do you have? Can you sketch your prototype? So this is a great worksheet that can correlate directly with that. We also have them in, if you're also wanting maybe some students in your summer camp are not quite ready for Sam Blockly, or that you want to do Sam Blockly, but also make sure they feel confident and need a little bit more, maybe it's a little bit too challenging for them. We also have our Sam Space task cards too, that you can easily print and have and use with your middle school students as well. I've even seen some teachers in middle school print the task cards out and have them try it in Sam Script. All of our lessons, the same idea, the same problem, you can build in all three of our systems, Sam Space, Sam Blockly, or Sam Script. So I've seen middle school teachers do this as well, because the blocks, you can use a button in Sam Script. You can use DC motors in Sam Script. So you could give the same task card, but then have the students choose which platform they want to build it in, depending on their confidence. So again, these are all available to you and will be linked on that summer camp implementation guide that I showed at the beginning. Another fun thing that I've seen a lot of some of our middle school camps do is they do a week-long in STEAM career summer camp. So what could be STEAM careers that I have? So we have Blocky as an intern, and these are real world STEAM roles. And so there are lessons that are specifically around these potential STEAM careers that they could have. For example, sound engineer, design systems that shape sounds. There's a dietitian lesson where they analyze data to build balanced meals. Another one is forensic scientist. This is a favorite of middle school where they solve real world mysteries, right? A perfumer. A lot of middle schoolers love this. Sephora and Ulta are very big companies and big names, and you could have your middle schoolers design a perfume, and then maybe they're going to sketch out what the perfume bottle looks like, because believe it or not, makeup industry are STEAM careers. There's chemists and all of that go into it. And then a documentarian, plan and pitch creative stories. Again, these are all great STEAM careers. And we have a document that breaks down all these Blocky as an intern here. So I'll link this for you after today, but here are all of those lessons that I went over with you. Oh, I forgot one on there, sound engineer. That's a really fun one too. So a sound engineer is building the music that we listen to. So these lessons for each one of the STEAM careers are here. They're pretty short. You can do them in under 30 minutes. So if you are running a STEAM camp, maybe you're going to do 2 STEAM careers a day. It could be fun. But you'll see there's things that you can share, a time to reflect with the students, and then it even gives you some sample code that they would build within either Sam Space or Sam Blockly. Again, I think it could be really fun, right? A STEAM career week for summer camp could be really fun. You could also just use this in your regular day. Maybe it's the end of the school year. These are just some fun additional lessons. There's another, we have our ARC kit, which is all about sustainability, but you could also bring sustainability to your camp, where students are going to design and build systems that either improve energy efficiency, they conserve resources, they use renewable energy, or create smart, sustainable buildings. So even if you don't have the ARC kit physical builds, you still have all of the SAM blocks, and you have access to all of the ARC kit lessons. So you could still have them build everything virtually in Sam Studio and still be learning about sustainability, even if you don't have the ARC kit resources. So I just wanted to show you guys how to find some of those. So if you're in the Content Hub, you can go to the ARC kit resources here, and you'll see all the different lessons that correlate with the ARC kit. There's a whole teacher resources here, talks you through all about ARC kit. Oh, excuse me, I'm almost printing something here. There's a whole scope and sequence, or maybe you're wanting to just kind of get an idea. For example, we have an automated ceiling lesson. So just like other lessons, they have the slide decks and everything built in. So again, even if you don't have the actual ARC kit, you can print out these step-by-step guides, and the students still can build an automated ceiling fan, right? They can use their heat sensors and DC motors and build it, and even prototype it and test it out. They just wouldn't be able to attach it in the building, but still could be a fun way. A sustainability camp is always a great way to bring in other ideas to your camp. We even have some offline challenges. So these correlate really well with those summer camp series. So if you're building the campfire, you could do, if they're finished early, they create a campfire song. Have students imagine if they're sitting around a campfire, what would be the song? Build an instrument. We have a guitar lesson in Sam Studio too. Maybe they're going to attach to that. So there's a lot of additional things, and I have that linked for you on that implementation guide about unplugged activities. If maybe you're doing a summer camp and you're going to do a break within it, you could do one of these fun unplugged activities. Finally, too, I wanted to talk about our seasonal lessons. So we have 2 great seasonal lessons that, depending on when your summer camp falls, I think could correlate really well in your camp. We have the Midsummer Day seasonal lesson. This is really fun lessons, especially, I know it says K to 2 and 3 to 5, but you could do the 3 to 5 and shift it to those middle schoolers. But here they're going to learn about what midsummer is. It's a Swedish holiday. They design design their own flower crown, the student activity. So they get to design it. So this is a little bit another kind of offline activity that they can do, but it can be looped in to Sam Studio. Maybe you're going to have them have their flower crown spin some way and bring the DC motor in. We also have 4th of July lessons. Oh, let me go back to that. Of course, it's not going to let me click on it. We have 4th of July lessons as well. If your summer camp is near the 4th of July, there's some really exciting lessons with that. The last thing I want to talk about is we also, if you have maybe only been doing maybe the STEAM courses with your students, we have our whole Learn to Code programs, and specifically for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. If I click on one of these resources here, you will see there's about 10 to 11 lessons that go with each one of these grade levels. And our Learn to Code lesson plans specifically are more of just coding, where our STEAM course lessons have a more well-rounded STEAM. They're bringing in science and art and engineering, where Learn to Code is mostly just specifically focused on computer science. So maybe your camp this summer is just going to be computer science for 6th grade. Our Learn to Code course would be perfect for that. So I've linked all this, but I'll show you what the scope and sequence looks like so you can get an idea. It talks about the lesson, the objectives, and what that final build would look like. Learn to Code is all in Sam Blockly. So if you want your students to be more confident in block-based coding, this is an excellent idea for you to go with your camp. There's 10 lessons. So you could do, if it's a 10-day camp, you could do these lessons each day. Maybe you're going to choose some of these lessons depending on, the time frame, but we have it for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So these, I think it'd be great to tie this in if you're really wanting to focus more on computer science this summer. You could, if you have different age groups too, maybe one day you're going to have some 6th graders and then 7th graders, you can change it according to what fits best. Okay, that was so much information so quickly today. But what I wanted to make sure that you guys know is that I will be sharing all of these resources that I showed you today. The number one thing will be that implementation guide. So if I want, I'm going to go back to that very quickly to show you guys. You guys will have access to this. Let me go back really quick. Sorry about that. You will have access to this guide, which links everything I talked about, but I'm also going to share the slide deck today and a couple other resources with you all so that if anything that I talked about, hopefully you can get. And if there's something that I didn't send you and you're like, Alyssa, I need more help with this, let me know. I will make sure I send it to you. But this document here, the implementation guide, you will get. Before I do question and answers too, I did want to show you all, we do have, and all of you have access to this, it's all free, is Sam Academy, which is our asynchronous learning platform. So I know many of you have already done our middle school STEAM path, but maybe Blockly, you need a little bit refresher with that. We have a quick Sam boost. It's under 30 minutes. It just gives you a little bit of extra training with that. Maybe you want to incorporate the microbit more in your summer camp, or Art Kit sounded interesting. You could do any of these, maybe to do a refresher if you're like, hey, I need a little bit more before I get started. All right, now I want to make sure we have time for question and answers. Let me go ahead to this slide now. Does anyone have any ideas right now or anything that they are wondering about their summer camp that I can answer anything? And feel free to go off mute or type in the chat. Jeff, any thoughts?
I'm just trying. Are you phasing out microbits?
No, we are not phasing out microbits. As far as I know, we are keeping microbits. No, I have not heard anything about phasing out microbits.
And what about the pairing of those? Is there plans to make that as easy as Sam Space?
I'm hoping so. I don't know the answer to that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm sure you've used them before, right? Downloading the hex file and all of that, but I hope so. I hope that it's as easy as typing in that 3-digit code. I don't have the answer right now. That's a great question for me to ask our product team. I just met with them. We meet bi-weekly to kind of go over like, what are teachers wondering? So I will bring that up the next meeting, Jeff.
Okay.
I know we have some plans to be upgrading a lot of things within Sam Space or Sam Studio, which in the fall, we'll launch some of those updates. But as you know, we're always trying to improve and make things easier for you all. So that's one of the things I'll bring back. I don't have the answer right now. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll tell you, in the 4 or 5 years that I've been using, maybe 3 or 4 or whatever,
Yeah.
it's night and day from when I first started. So it's a huge improvement.
That is wonderful to hear. Yeah, I know even just the pairing IDs, and now we have our root robots, which are easy to connect with Sam Studio. Yeah, we're always just trying to make things improve. But I totally agree with you. I think having a way for the microbit where you just type in the code like you can for the pairing IDs would make it much easier. I'm hoping to, I know we have to download the hex files and things like that. If they can come with the hex files already on them or something along those lines, right? But yeah, I will bring that to the product team and see what we can do. Anyone else have any questions? All right. Well, feel free after today. If you don't have any questions now and you have a thought later, please feel free to ask me at any point. What I can do to support you. Last session too, I had was some teachers like, I don't know if I'm going to use this for summer camp, but I'm going to use some of these lessons in my own building. Some teachers too, a lot of these can be used for after school programs. So next fall, I know you're like, I'm not thinking about fall, Alyssa. It's not even the end of the school year. But perhaps maybe you might think about how you could use some of these for a coding club or something too. So in the fall, we will have some after school program webinars too. So if that's something you're interested in, look out for that. We have one more summer camp series we're launching, our Root Rangers, which will be all about how to use a Root robot or our Root coding platform into your summer camp as well. So if you're interested, go ahead and we'd love to have you join that. I'm going to stop recording only because I'm about to share, there we go, the QR code. So people that watch this afterwards, they will not get a chance for the raffle. Only you guys do today. But please know, reach out any point this summer. Reach out to myself, your customer success rep. Join our weekly office hours. We're still having them in the summer. We're here to troubleshoot and help you guys. So if you guys could take a moment and you can either scan this code or I am going to put this in the chat. If you guys can fill this out for me, let me put this here really quickly. There we go. Go ahead and take a moment. It should take less than a minute to fill out the survey. Just because you were here live and attended, you also get a chance to win that Root robot. We'll hopefully announce it next week after we have the Root Rangers. You'll get an email from some of us. But keep a lookout for that implementation guide and just a follow-up email from today. I'm also going to post this video that I'm recording in our SAM Academy too, if you want to go back and watch anything. But thank you guys for being here and your time during the school year.
Thanks, Alyssa.
Thanks, Jeff. Always wonderful seeing you.
All right, you too. Thanks. Bye now.
Bye. Have a good night.